Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the Flight Sim world. This is Viperstrike 95 Flight Sim, and today we are back with our around the world trip, day 38. And today we're going to be finishing up our tour of Ecuador. And I hope you all are having a great weekend. I know lots been going on FS Expo, so should definitely be pretty exciting to be here today. So this flight's going to be somewhat of a shorter in terms of distance, but we're going to be having some pretty challenging stuff going on. So good to have you guys here as well. So let's go over. So let's go ahead and talk about our slideshow before we get started. I want to say hello to my chat. Super topic. I'm good to see you. I'll go back to what you said earlier. And I want to say also hello to my lurkers in chat. There's quite a few notable people. You guys are more than welcome to come here. Thank you guys so much for coming. So today's flight plan is going to be a pretty simple one. We're going to be mainly flying to the big two cities of Ecuador. We'll be traveling from Guayaquil over to Quito today. Basically, this is very similar to another stream I did way back in the past. But we'll start here from Guayaquil. We're going to climb up in altitude. And then we're going to make our way over to our first stop here at Chimborazo Airport, Sierra Echo Romeo Bravo in Riobamba. Then for Riobamba, we'll head up back north and through the mountain valley, and we'll make our way over to Cotopaxi International, right near the city of Latacunga. And then from there, we'll make our final stop, and we're going to be flying over Quito today. So we'll be flying over the historic capital city of, of Quito, and we'll land at Firefly Air's other South America hub at Sierra Echo Quebec Mike. So should be a pretty exciting flight. I'm very much looking forward to this flight. Should be a really scenic flight. Ecuador is another really cool area to fly in this sim. Hey, Gazaki Flyer, good to see you, my dude. I just saw you finally got your streaming stuff back up last week. So let me give Kazaki a shout out. Let me go give him a shout out. Check out his streams. I know he's just restarted back streaming again after a couple of weeks of not streaming. So check out his channel. He does all sorts of stuff on his Sunday streams. It'd be usually later in the day for most European viewers, but for those in the United States, you can definitely catch his streams. So the plane we're actually taking here today is a little different. I wanted to take something a little unusual. And that's the Pipistrel Virus SW121. Now, the reason I took that today, because yes, turboprop are kind of needed at high altitudes, but the problem is a lot of these turboprops are quite fast, so I don't want to get through too quickly. So, we're going to be flying, here as well. Hey, and we fly daily. Speaking of which, good to see we fly daily. Let's give him a shout out. If you guys don't know about We Fly Daily, a really good friend of the channel, he flies all sorts of stuff from DCS to Microsoft Flight Sim. He can fly all sorts of planes, airliners, military jets, general aviation. The dude can fly nearly anything. So definitely check out his channel. So thank you for coming on here at We Fly Daily. Now the Pipistrel virus was built by the Pipistrel company in Slovenia in Italy. It's sold as an ultralight home built kit or light sport plane, introduced in 1999. It can be produced in a number of different engines, wingspans, undercarriage configs, and it can even be equipped with a full airframe emergency parachute system. And it is a very unique little plane. About 1,000 of them have been built, but these have been very, very good planes for a lot of training aircraft. This is a very successful training plane. It's been mainly used for a lot of light trainers, mainly by the Indian Air Force. So it's mainly been used internationally by the Indian military. It's used by far the most of the viruses. It's actually here. These little bad boys can go up the service ceiling to 22,000 feet for the more powerful ones. Cruise speed of 147 knots. And they have a range of about 780 nautical miles. So But yeah, I wanted to take this little plane today. It's been a plane I really enjoy. There's a lot of great things about the virus I do like. One is if you look to your side, the side visibility from the side. There's so much side visibility in this. The front visibility isn't the greatest, but the side visibility is going to be really, really nice. There's also some really cool little stuff you can add into this. So, I linked it to my Gmail. Yeah, you can link it to your email. You can also make a document too. I do it at home too, Kazagi. So I sometimes make a document on my computer to keep a list of all your passwords. And you can even put it on your smartphone if you have anything like that. And that way you can link it up and you don't have to worry about. And you don't have to worry about losing it. Yeah, I haven't flown this thing in a long time. The Pipistrel Virus. Now that's a plane I have not flown in a long while. So should be fascinating to see. 15. Henning. So, of course, you guys want to take something quicker, you can easily take something that can keep up with this. A turboprop would probably be much preferred. You didn't have a 2AA phone. Gotcha. That's right. The two-factor authentication. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So we're gonna go ahead and take off here. The Pipistrel Virus shouldn't have that much of a takeoff distance. I mean, this is a very light plane, and technically it could be it can actually be built for gliding operation. So this thing does not need much of a runway at all. Good old Pipistrel client. Also, a little bit interesting about this Pipistrel, as you see right here in the back, well, just like in some of the airliners you have, you can click this, and you can actually put speed brakes. This will greatly slow down the Pipistrel a bit. Very similar to airlines. If you need a quick halt or if you need to have a quick landing, you can easily just put the speed brake. So that's a pretty cool little feature about this little Pipistrel. I'm gonna go ahead and get this plane. We have the Pipistrel. Such a fascinating little plane. Such a fascinating plane. So I did decide for start next week, I'm gonna actually do the around the world trip one stream a week, but I decided that I would make them longer. So instead of being like 3 hours, it might be 4 or 5 hours, depending on the flight. But that way, we can cover the same number of distance as we do twice a week. But by only doing it once a week, I can actually have more time to complete research for these streams. Plus, the other benefit of me doing it twice a week is I got some volunteering work going on, and that's going to take quite a bit of my time. Because what I'm going to be doing volunteering-wise is I'm going to be working on a golf club database for Hilrick and Brad's base. So it's going to take quite a bit of undertaking, so I want to have more time for that. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next. Yeah, you can see this little Viperstrike, very, very capable little plane. I like the Viperstrike. It's a very, very nice little plane. It's a real beauty of a plane. Like I said, I'm glad to be flying this again. This used to be actually one of my favorite GA planes. Back before I got a lot of the add-on GA stuff, this was one of my favorites. Just because it's just such a unique little plane. And I mean, look at the side visibility of this. The side visibility of this thing is just incredible. This little virus, very capable, little ultralight. Love it. So before we get started, I do want to talk a little bit about FS Expo. Python mentioned some of this earlier in his chat, but yeah, there has been some huge news released yesterday for the details. So there are some really big ones that were just released. Parallel 42 did release their A320 immersion package, though I'm not getting it because I'm not an A320 pilot. I fly the Boeing, so. However, here's a pretty big news. Flight Sim Studio has now unveiled its newest project, the 727-200. Now, this thing might be one of the things I am interested in. I haven't got their E-Jet yet, but they're going to bring in their FSS E-Jets to the sim, which is going to be amazing. Oh man, that if you guys don't know, that's actually one of SimCaesar's favorite planes is the 727. If you ever check out his channel. But yeah, it's going to be really cool to have a 727 in the flight sim. Featured in-depth simulation, complex suite of analog instruments, realistic challenge, custom-coded inertial navigation system for both traditional and modern. They also include a lot of user-friendly features like EFB clipboard and more, virtual crew function, and it's going to be released at the end of July, which is going to be really nice. I know it's not, this is a full release, so it's going to come in the sim soon. So I'm really interested in it. I would like to have another Boeing into the sim, and it's a 7.2 of all things, which is really, really exciting. I'm very interested in the Flight Sim 727. Another plane that's interested me, even though it's not a Boeing, it's an MD-11 that's going to be coming out July 2nd by TFDI Designs. They're the ones who are well known for their MD-11s. Which is going to be really nice for me. And the reason I'm interested in this one is because UPS Airlines operates the MD-11 cargo versions out of Louisville. So I got a lot of options for general aviation. So very, very excited. Would it be as good as the FS? No. I don't think so, but it's at least nice that we're getting a 727 in the sim. And I mean, and you're right, Typhon, it may not be nearly as good as the FS Reborn 727, but at least we're getting one in the sim, and two, I know Flight Sim Studios has greatly improved the E-Jets since early access. So I think there's a bit of interest in that. But yeah, the MD-11 from TFDI is coming out for $70 US, which isn't too bad. And you can get it for either passenger or corporator. So if you want to get both, you need to spend an additional $10 to get both, plus 5 more to get the full simulation package, which adds random failures, circuit breakers, and more. But I don't want to get the circuit breakers, so if I want both, it would be $80, which isn't too bad for both the freighter and cargo. I mean, that's where the 777 is going to be priced, so that's actually not a bad price for the MD-11. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have my interest in that too. So yeah, so I plan on next week So I think for next week's schedule, you guys know Wednesday is going to be the 777-SERB-Berlin shuttle. Now Friday, because I'm only doing the around the world trip once a week and not twice a week, I think for that one, I'm probably going to do 777 again, but this time it will be from a different airport, from one of our different hubs. It's probably going to be Dubai, and it's going to probably be Dubai to Mumbai. It's going to be a very long flight, at least for the Wednesday stream, but it's going to be Dubai to Mumbai, India. But I feel like that would be a really good flight, and it'd be a good way to test the 777s for longer flights. Plus, Emirates operates one of the largest 777 fleets, so makes sense to do it out of Dubai. Makes quite a lot of sense out of that. Or Europe to Nairobi could work too, but that's really long for a Wednesday stream. That's a little long for a Firefly Air stream. And I tend to operate from 12 to 3 on those Wednesday streams because of Murph's channel. Yeah. And then, of course, Wednesday stream, on Sunday, we're actually going to fly from Quito over, I'm going to change the round world dates, but for day 39, we're going to fly from Quito over to Sierra Kilo Lima Charlie. And the reason for that is because we're going to be flying over all of Colombia on one stream. So we're going to start from Quito, make our way over to Cali, then from Cali over to Bogota, which is the capital of Colombia, in Bogota, and visiting El Dorado International. Then from there, we'll check out the city of Medellin with a quick stop at Sierra Kilo Mike Delta. And then from Medellin, we're going to climb all the way back into Sierra Kilo Lima Charlie to complete the Latin America trip. But I wanted to go ahead and do it in one stream for a little bit longer. But that way we can get a little bit longer stream, and we can make up for 2 streams what we can do with 1, what we can do with 2 streams. So it would kind of make up for it. I think that's what I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. But I think it would work out a lot better for me, at least. I think that would work a lot better. Plus, that would probably be pretty nice. Now, the big thing news is what MSFS24 has released some new details. And there is a lot of it, turns out. So Jorg has released some new enhancements. There's currently 800 developers working on this with newly entire 3D ground environment, which is featuring real-time ray tracing, improved shadows, improved photogrammetry. But they also expanded aircraft and partnerships, including the A330-200 and 300 models of it by any builds. The Twin Otter from Aerosoft has been completely rebuilt. However, the biggest bit of new aircraft, and developed by Asoa themselves, they managed to bring a Boeing 737 MAX 8 into the sim, which is insane. We're gonna get a Boeing 737 MAX 8. I mean, come on, like, I'm a Boeing pilot. I'm stacked to have the MAX 8. I know real life the Maxes have always had issues with safety, but this is a flight simulator. There's a difference. And to get a 737 MAX is awesome. They also include walkarounds, which means you can do pre-flight inspections. They also brought in a brand new in-house advanced flight planner, which is huge, especially for those on Xbox. Which is huge for the Xbox pilots. They have now their own flight planner for those on Xbox, which is huge. And they also include replay functionality as well, which is huge news. Like, having the advanced flight planner is going to make things a lot easier for the Xbox pilots, which is going to be awesome. They include enhanced realism and interactivity, featuring new environmental elements. And they would also support new biomes and animals, realistic scenery changes, and even Aurora Borealis as well would be added into it as well. They also brought new ship traffic from global ship AI traffic, Puff and Flight for VFR rule experiences, Flight Control Replay for replay, and the Optica and AMAX for gliders for my golf friends. This is enormous news. I mean, absolutely Huge stuff. I think they're gonna reveal the system stuff later, Kazaki. Um, huge. That's still pretty exciting. But I do kind of agree with you. I would like to see that too, but I guess we gotta wait and see. Um, be patient. I know some of you guys are kind of a little bit patient. Oh yeah, and the Got Friends Draco. Yes, that thing's gonna be effing amazing. My favorite stuff showing the expo court. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff. My favorite thing they revealed at expo so far has probably been is probably gonna be that 737 Max 8. I know the Max 8 hasn't had the greatest track record of safety in real life, um, but I think it would be really cool to see in the sim is the Max 8. But I think the big thing I like is the flight planner. That's going to be a game changer for Xbox pilots because Xbox for a long, long time hasn't had anything like that for Xbox. And that's going to make things so much easier for the Xbox pilots to have their own flight plan. It would make things so much easier. I think it's going to make things so much better. I mean, that may not sound like a big feature, but big deal. It's Xbox. They've been needing something like that. Yeah, I guess I understand. Real water. Rest of me is just whatever. Yeah, flyby A380. Yeah, that would definitely be something a lot of people would want to hear. So let's go ahead and yeah, we're climbing all the way up to 11,000 feet. So yeah, definitely some big news. By your RTX 7000 card. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal, Gazaki. I think it's gonna be pretty similar to what it was for FS 2020. If I'm betting you, considering they have to also make this with Xbox in mind, it's gonna be similar to what it is for 2020. I bet you, Kazaki, that's probably what it's gonna be like because they have to make this work for Xbox. So that's probably what it is. It's gonna be nice to have a nicer system to run some of the stuff. But I think for lower end stuff, I think they have to make it for that. Because that would be utterly foolish to do that. So yeah, it turns out this little plane can actually climb up that high. That's So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some bit of our notes for a little bit. So, let's go ahead and talk about our slideshow. So let's talk about Ecuador's economy for a bit. So according to research, it's a developing economy, highly dependent on economy, on oil, petroleum, and agricultural products. And it's the 8th largest economy in Latin America and has experienced a growth of 4.6% between 2000 and 2006. And then it grew to 4.3% from 2007 to 2012, which is above the average for Latin American economic growth. It's currently doing pretty good, though. One of the big things has been oil exports. Ecuador has quite a bit of oil reserves and stuff. In the past, Ecuador's economy was mainly based off agricultural stuff, but nowadays, Ecuador's economy has has been more into services and all that. So it's had quite a bit of shifts for like in recent years. So basically, Ecuador's economy has been going through shifts, but it's currently actually doing pretty good. Now, of course, in agriculture, Ecuador is one of the 10 largest producers in the world of banana, coca, and palm oil. In 2018, they also produced 7.5 million tons of sugarcane, 6.5 million tons of banana, 2.7 million tons of palm oil, 1.3 million tons of maize, which is basically corn, 1.3 million tons of rice, 269,000 tons of potato, 235,000 tons of coca, 149,000 tons of pineapple, 103,000 tons of orange, plus small productions of other products are part of the Ecuadorian economy. So agriculture is a pretty big deal, but not as big of a deal as other parts of South America. However, it does have a lot of potential for mining and resources. They are the 14th largest producer of antimony, which basically is it's a metalloid found mainly in sulfide mineral stibnite. So it's also got 5.3 tons of gold annually in 2006, as well as 1 ton of silver. But the big part of why that's a big deal for here is industries, and that's because oil. How about oil being 40% of all of Ecuador's exports is oil? Yes, you wouldn't expect to find oil in Ecuador, but it's a lot of it's in the rainforest areas of it, is the rainforest. It's also Ecuador is prized for its tobacco due to its prolonged cloud cover and rich volcanic soil, makes very successful for tobacco exports. And most of the industry in the country is mainly in Guayaquil and Quito, are the 2 big areas for industry here in Ecuador. So, big part of it is the industries area. And of course, we have tourism as well, and in recent years, tourism has been a bigger deal in Ecuador's economy, as it's due to the fact, well, it has vast natural wealth, thanks to the fact it has a lot of different flora and fauna, like birds, butterflies, and among many others. However, it's not only because it has a lot of natural beauty. There's also lots of culture here in this area too, as it has 2 cities with UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Quito and Cuenca, as well as 2 natural World Heritage Sites in the Galapagos Island and Sangay National Park. And there are tons of really cool areas for tourism, including the picture here on the right. This is Cuenca, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site city, as well. But there are tons of attractions. And basically for nature, if you're a nature lover, you've got the Galapagos Islands, Yasuni National Park, Sangay National Park. For cultural stuff, you can visit the Historic Center of Quito, the Historical Center of Cuenca, Latacunga, and its Mama Negra Festival. You can visit lots of snowy mountains, mainly in Chimborazo volcano in Cotopaxi, and the beaches around the coast like Manta, Esmeraldas, and Bahia de Carquez. There is a ton of things to do here for tourists in Ecuador. It's a real gem of a place for tourism. So yeah, that concludes a little bit of our notes of Ecuador. So yeah, we've officially have climbed our way up to 13,500 feet for the first leg. But yeah, we climbed to some pretty high altitudes in our little Viperstrike. Has made it pretty far up. So, absolutely, we got Kazaki Flyer here with us. Good to see you, my dude. But, yeah, look at the insane views from all the way up here. So, if you guys want to know my weekend's doing pretty good. I did also add a new route for Firefly Air as well. And that is it is that because with the 777 coming out, and because Swiss Airlines operates the 777, I actually convinced Six Knots with his blessing to actually open up the first transatlantic route from our Zurich hub, from Zurich over to our East US hub in Pittsburgh. So Zurich's going to actually have its first transatlantic flights finally. And it's between the two hubs, which would be pretty cool. Yep, and it's also Pittsburgh's third transatlantic route, so which is really exciting, for sure. Yep. Nice to relax this weekend. Beautiful Ecuador. So. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I really do like this Pipistrel. This Pipistrel's awesome. Like I said, it's nice to get an aircraft like this that hasn't had a lot of flight time into the sky with us. Oh yeah, other things in the presentation. Yeah, propellers and rotors will be more accurately animated and all that. So that's pretty cool. So that's going to be pretty much the thing going forward. So yeah, Ecuador, very very cool country. You might sell more tickets to Heathrow, Dublin, or Bristol, and paddle jump there across Europe. That's pretty good. But no, we needed a Pittsburgh Zurich route because Pittsburgh only has two other transatlantic routes one to Iceland and the other one to Dublin. Like having a Pittsburgh Zurich route would definitely be really good to have. Plus we need something else to connect to Zurich hub too. Like Zurichs are connected to Dublin, Bristol, and most recently I now connected to Dubai. So having a transatlantic route would be a good idea out of Zurich. It's not that far of a flight. It'd be about 8 to 9 hour flights. So it'd be pretty nice to have. But yeah, the big issue with Bristol is I don't think a Bristol can fit the 777. That's the problem. Bristol can't fit the 777 into it. Heathrow's such a common route, and I'm trying to keep the number of routes pretty small, so makes sense. So let's go ahead and talk about another thing about slideshow. Is transportation in Ecuador. So in Ecuador, the transportation, mainly with it has been a rehabilitation of the Ecuadorian Railroad, and is used as turf attraction one of the recent developments. Its tramway in Suenica is the largest public transport in the city and the first modern tramway in Ecuador in 2019. And the main big two airports are the Mariscal Sucre International and the Jose Joaquin de Alameda in Guayaquil have a lot of high demand in passenger traffic and required modernization. So there's that too. And then speaking of which, I do want to talk about the over flag carrier of Ecuador. This is Tame. Tame is the former flag carrier of Ecuador. It was the flag carrier before it was dissolved in 2020, but it was at one point the largest airline of Ecuador, located in Quito as its headquarters. It was formed by the Air Force of Ecuador. In 2011, it became a commercial entity providing domestic international charter flights. Though due to COVID-19, Tame is no longer an airline. You won't see me choose until Smokey comes out. Hope it flies well. Yeah, no worries. So the history of Tame goes back to the 1960s when it was founded by Luis Ortega under Guillermo Freire Proso, both military colonels. It was named Transportes Aéreos Militares Ecuatorianos. At the time, the Air Force required an income source in government transport service to remote parts of Ecuador. And eventually they increased their first services over time, and they made their first flight on December 4th, 1962 with the Douglas DC-7, and they made flights from Quito, with a round trip of Quito to places like Esmeraldas, Bahia, Manta, Guayaquil, Suenica, and back to Quito. They originally made domestic flights using the C-47s, so over time they got the brand new DC-3s and DC-6s. As well as in 1970, they added the HS-748 Avro, the Hawker Sidney. Then they began international flights in 1966 to places like Havana, Panama, and Santiago de Chile. As business grew, they also purchased some Lockheed L-188 Electras. And then they also added 727s in the late 70s, early 80s, as well as adding all sorts of new planes. However, in the later years, during the 21st century, they've been not doing so well. They eventually got A320s and all that, but things are not going well thanks to COVID. And poor financial has let them dissolve the airline back in 2020. See, a pretty short history, not much. In terms of their fleet and stuff, Tame operated at the time their fleet, they flew the A319, A320-200, and 3 ATR 42-500s. And they formerly operated all sorts of planes like an A330-200, 727s, DHG-5 Buffaloes, Twin Otters, D-47s, DC-3s, DC-6, the E-Jet family, Hawker F-20 Fellowships, Hawker Sidley HS-748. They even operated the Quest Kodiak for more of the remote areas. So that's kind of been their fleet. That's what they operated. However, on next Sunday, we'll actually be talking about, when we go to Colombia, we'll be actually talking about one of the world's oldest airlines, Avianica. And we'll talk all about Avionica, one of the world's oldest airline. In fact, I believe it's the world's second oldest airline after KLM. So it's got a rich history. So we'll talk all about that when we get to that point. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that first. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at the peaks here. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy peaks and stuff. Absolutely nuts. Yeah, once we turn right, we'll be heading to our first city. Riobamba is going to be our first stop. Yeah, what a flight. That's crazy. So, Riobamba is going to be our first stop of the day. Is Riobamba. This city here in Ecuador, is located. It's the capital of the Chimborazo province. It's 120 miles south of Quito, situated 2,754 meters above sea level. It's an important regional transport center and a stop on the Pan American Highway. And it's one of the largest cities in the central portion of its Sierra region. Founded in 1534 and was relocated in 1799 after an earthquake in 1797 that nearly destroyed the original city. This city was well known for its agricultural production, mainly as an important trade center for cattle ranching, as well as an open-air market for indigenous artisans to display their wares. And it's well known for its festival, the Fiesta del Niño Rey de Reyes, which is one of its main festivals. So that is where we're going to be going to today, but it's a pretty important little city in the region. Yeah, that's going to be Riobamba. So yeah, guys, I hope you're all having a good weekend. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. I know there's been quite a few things going on. But yeah, I got next week's schedule planned. So it turns out for Firefly update for Saturday. So for Sunday, I have some updates for our virtual airline. According to our XP goal, we're about 2.43 million XP. We're just under 600,000 XP away. So we're not too far away from completing the goal, which is going to be really nice. But yeah, I can't wait to see where else we could take the virtual airline to this time. There's some pretty interesting new destinations for sure. So. Oh yeah, they also brought in the new Texan, the T6 Texan 2, that was also brought into the sim recently. I haven't really grabbed my hands on it. I'm trying to save my money for that 777. That'd be my big thing. I want to use my money. That 777 is going to be amazing. I can't wait to show you. Hopefully it comes out on Tuesday so I can show you guys. pretty cool stuff. But yeah, the scenery here is just gorgeous up here. What incredible scenery here. I mean, all of this is about 9,000, 8,000 feet above sea level. I mean, all these different scenery and stuff. I mean, it'll get even better once we get forward north. And the scenery would actually improve considerably. So after this leg, it'll be a very short leg, probably the shortest leg. We just move over to SL Sierra Lima Tango. Oh, just beautiful scenery, guys. Lovely. So I wanted to ask you guys a pretty important question. Um, so I want to ask you guys for this week, if you guys got a really cool flights and stuff planned for the week. And know I'm really interested to see when Murph comes back, what he's going to be doing when he comes back. I know he's not going to be back for a while. He's going to probably be stuck in Vegas. Maybe, who knows, Murph gets stranded in Vegas, and then I might have to take over the virtual airline for a bit. I got a few ideas in mind that would work. Maybe some new missions could work. Look at the volcanoes here. There's quite a few of them here. There's Volcan El Altar, that's right to our right. Yeah, we're only 118 nautical miles away from Quito, so we're nearly over 100 nautical miles done with this trip so far. The rest of it isn't going to be too much longer. Okay, to our left, there's another volcano to our left. This volcano is Chimborazo. Ah, there's Chimborazo to our left. Chimborazo is actually Ecuador's tallest mountain is right here. This is Chimborazo, the tallest peak in Ecuador, and the 39th highest peak in the Andes at 20,549 feet. It's currently an inactive stratovolcano, so its last eruption was around 550 AD was its last eruption. So, and it's a very popular destination for mountaineering due to its challenging climbing routes, which goes through all sorts of different terrain. So, pretty cool stuff. Big old volcano. The first people that it's actually considered by some to be widely reported to be the first point of the surface from the Earth's center. Apparently, that is actually the peak that's further away from the center, is Chimborazo. The first expedition done by it was in 1802. With Alexander von Humboldt tried to reach the summit, but he failed. But the first Europeans to climb up the summit was in 1880. So. And there was a flight that actually was actually crashed into the volcano in 1975. IATA Flight 232 actually crashed. It was actually crashing into the volcano. So it is a very popular climb destination as well, though it's not difficult. Chimborazo, man, that's a really stunning peak. Absolutely gorgeous peak. We're gonna go ahead and prepare for our first landing of the day. Autopilot off, flight director off. Let's go make our way down. But yeah, man, Ecuador is very, very pretty. Doesn't always get the attention of some of the other South American countries like we visited, like Peru, Bolivia, and Chile. But I think Ecuador deserves some respect too. It's a beautiful land. Actually, we don't need a... Because of its unique airframe, we can actually just let it glide in, because it can actually technically glide. It is. So, trying to deploy this thing's secret weapons. Yep, the speed brakes. That should slow down speed considerably. With the flaps, and you can basically just keep this thing slow down really easily. Really easy to slow down this thing once she's a stable little bird. That's why I like flying the Viperstrike. Very nice plane to fly. Like for a default plane, it's not. It's as good as planes like the Comanche, Probably not. Here's our first stop of the day. And she's pretty much stopped almost immediately. Gonna stop right here. And let me go ahead and fix the meter. Oh, that's a nice shot. Chimborazo in the ship. Ah, nice. There's Chimborazo in the shot. So yeah, guys, first stops. It's here, Echo Romeo Bravo. Well, we will stop here for just a little bit if you guys want to catch up and join on in. We're on the Southeast Asian server, and we're going to be flying our way over to Sierra Echo Lima Tango. This is actually going to be a very short leg, only a 45 nautical mile leg to our next destination. Should be a pretty short leg. So, should be a very, very short leg. So. So let's go ahead and get back in, and we'll prepare for the second leg. This one is also not going to be a very long leg either. It's going to be only 37 nautical miles to the next leg. The cruise altitude for this one is going to be 15,500 feet, the highest leg in the trip so far. Now, takeoff usually would be quite a little long, but remember, this is a pipistrelle virus. Being such a lightweight plane like this, shouldn't have any issues with taking off. No, to tip over. obviously this is going to take a bit of a longer kickoff roll, but see, this is why altitude's a big deal. Despite this being usually a pretty short runway, long runway for a plane like this, the altitude is going to play a role. So, let's go ahead and talk about the culture of Ecuador for a bit. So Ecuador's culture is quite unique in its own way. Ecuador's culture is based off its Mestizo majority and its ancestry and tradition of Spanish heritage, followed by degrees of Amerindian traditions. Its Amerindian communities are integrated into mainstream culture to various degrees, but some also practice their own native cultures, particularly the ones that are much more remote. Spanish is spoken as a first language by 90% of the population, and as a second language by more than 90%. Part of it can speak its Amerindian languages, and only 2% can speak only those Amerindian languages. So a lot of it is integrated into Spanish, but also with its own cultures. The music of Ecuador has a long history. Pasillo is a genre of indigenous Latin music, and it's that natural genre of music here in Ecuador. Throughout the years, many cultures have brought their influence to create new types of music. There's also different kinds of traditional music, like the albazo, pascale, fox inaco, tonada, casmisica, and bomba, and so on. There's tons of different kinds of traditional music here in Ecuador that people like to listen to. One of the most traditional forms of dancing is the San Juanito, which developed in northern Ecuador and is a type of dance music played by the Mestizo and Amerindian communities here in Ecuador. It's well-known dance. But of course, one of the really cool things that I like to learn more about is Ecuador's cuisine. And it's just similar to Peru. Ecuador's cuisine is insanely varied depending on altitude, agricultural conditions, and more. And it's basically an amalgamation of Spanish, Andean, and Amazonian cuisines, and to a lesser degree, Italian, African, and Chinese. In the coastal region, beef, chicken, and seafood are very popular, whereas in the Andes, pork, chicken, and cuy, or guinea pig, are very popular and served with rice and such. The hornado is a popular street food in the mountainous regions, which is roast pig. And then in the Amazon forest regions, it's cassava. We're just going to circle around. So, we don't want to hit the mountain. But there's all sorts of different foods and stuff in Ecuadorian cuisines. Most regions of Ecuador follow a traditional three-course meal. But Ecuador is also known for a lot of its dishes made out of bananas. So, bananas are a big part of Ecuadorian cuisine is bananas. So there's all sorts of stuff. And there's all sorts of different dishes. In the rainforest, cassava is a big part of their cuisine. So there's also sugarcane-based beer, aguardiente, which is the most popular alcohol, which is based on sugarcane, fermented sugarcane, and more. But there's quite a few varieties of Ecuadorian cuisine. Very, very tasty. So that makes Ecuadorian cuisine. So the next thing is going to be literature. Early literature in Ecuador, like much of Latin America, has been based off the Spanish Golden Age. Mainly one of the earliest examples is Jacinto Colahuza, an American Indian chief in today's Ibarra. And despite his discrimination and repression, he learned to read and write Castilian, but his work in Quechua. There's also contemporary ones, like Jorge Enrique Andam, poet Jorge Andarin, and Benjamin Carr, and some more of the traditional modern writers. There's quite a lot of them, but these are just some of the few. So these are just some of the people here. And then finally, in sports, Ecuador's most popular sport has been football, with some of its well-known soccer or football. Some of its best clubs are Emelec from Guayaquil, Liga de Quito from Quito, Barcelona SC from Guayaquil, which is also the most popular team, and a few others. So that's the most popular sport. Other popular sports include volleyball, bicycle, basketball, cycling, and tennis. One of its specialties is a three-person variation of volleyball known as equivolley, with more relaxed rules, and in football is traditionally used. And they've also participated in the 11 Summer Olympic Games and participated for the first time in the Winter Olympics in 2018. So yeah, that is the sports of Ecuador. That's Ecuador's culture. And there's Chimborazo to our left. Yeah, the satellite data isn't great here, sadly. So we don't get a lot of good satellite data. But at least it's still pretty scenic up there. the beautiful sights in here today, man. This is crazy. So we're going to be flying to our next city. This is Latacunga. This plateau city in Ecuador is the capital of its own province, of the Cotopaxi province. It was population 77,000 people. Founded in April 12, 1557, it gained independence from Spain in 1820. The city is well known for being destroyed 4 times by earthquakes between 1698 and 1798. And its most notable foods from here include the chocaras, empanadas, plantains, and popcorn, and tostado. It's highly dependent on agriculture, floriculture, and commerce. Its main airport is Cotopaxi Airport. It's mainly used for a lot of as an air base. It's also got local volcanic activity, which has resulted has pumice deposits, which are mined, as well as the presence of natural sparkling water. And it's also well known for its traditional festival La Fiesta de la Mama Negra, which is celebrated twice a year and originates from a mixture of indigenous Spanish and African influence. And these are very popular festival downtown. So definitely very well known here in the city. And finally, its airport is Cotopaxi International Airport. It's within a broad valley, and it's the second longest runway in Ecuador, which is around 12,178 feet in runway 0119, and it's mainly used for cargo by Cargolux to Bogota in Luxembourg. Yeah, imagine flying all the way out from Luxembourg to Ecuador for a cargo. So that's going to be it for the second leg. Again, this is actually not too long of a leg. Like I said, this is probably going to end up being pretty short. Those little viruses absolutely flying. This city down below us is Ambato. Ambato is the city down below us. Is Ambato. Pretty cool. Mm. Car engines with Joe turbochargers do not like flying this high. What did you take in the air, Kazaki? Oh, it's Cessna 337. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, here it is. Latakunga is just dead ahead of us. Yeah, turbocharged could. Absolutely beautiful flight here today. Yeah, I think having the one fire, having the one around the one trip for Mongo would probably be better. Absolutely gorgeous flying. Look at this. Let's look at the look out the door. That's what's nice about this virus is you can see so much out of the side doors. See all the different peaks and stuff. This makes it such a great VFR plane. The fact you can see so much out of the side doors and all that. What a beautiful flight, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this flight. If you guys are liking this flight and haven't followed the channel yet and enjoying the content, smash that follow button to support the channel. We're going to be streaming 3 days a week. I think I'm going to plan on doing the around the world trips on Sundays, but these streams are going to be a bit longer because I know people have very busy work days and stuff usually, so it might be better to put this type of content on the weekends for something more relaxing. think that's our airport down here. We're just gonna glide our way down. So there's Kunga. Um, so out in the distance, that volcano we see out in the distance, this is Ilianza Sur. And of course, there's Cotopaxi National Park here as well to our right. So, again, lots of volcanoes around this part of Ecuador. It makes sense. It's part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, at least for Latin America side of things. Okay. That is officially stop number 2 here in Ecuador. This is our second stop of the day. We'll take a quick break here for just a bit to prepare if anyone else wants to join on in for this last leg. Let's go ahead and deal with the last leg of the trip. Go ahead and put the last leg. So the last leg is going to be around. I guess we're going to let's see. We're going to go 13,000 feet initially, though we're going to drop down to a little bit lower of an altitude. I think we're going to eventually, after we clean that part, we're going to go ahead and drop down around 10,000 feet. And we're going to be flying over Quito. So our final stop is going to be Quito, which is Ecuador's historic capital city. So. Okay, we're going to be climbing up. We got 57 nautical miles to our final stop here in Quito. So. We're going to go all the way. Let's go ahead and talk about the historic city of Quito for a bit. So our final stop is going to be at Quito. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Quito, Ecuador, it's the historic capital city of Ecuador. Its population is 2.8 million people in its metropolitan area, and it's located in the eastern slopes of Pichincha, which is actually an active volcano. Its elevation of 9,350 feet makes Quito the highest or second highest capital city in the world. And that's because, well, Bolivia has multiple capitals, mainly La Paz. Quito is the political and cultural center of Ecuador, as the country's major government and cultural institutions are here in the city. It's also one of the two industrial centers of the country, along with Guayaquil. And the people first settled in this area between 4400 to 1600 BC. But Quito was actually founded all the way back in 1534 by the Spanish. And in fact, this city is actually the oldest capital city in South America. And its historic center was actually among the largest and best preserved historic centers in the Americas. In fact, it is so historic that in 1978, Quito and Krakow were the first ever UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Sites by UNESCO, which is a big deal. Also, fun fact about Quito, is the capital city closest to the equator, which runs through the northern part of its metropolitan area, so we're very close to the equator. So that's a very big deal. Wow. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about fun facts about Ecuador. So before we get that, here's a fun fact about Ecuador. The national tree is the cinchona tree, which produces quinine, the first drug used to prevent and treat malaria. Probably the most widely fact known about Ecuador is actually it's named after the equator. Like literally, it translates. Its official name, República de Ecuador, literally translates to Republic of the Equator, which makes sense. Charles Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands, and that's where he based his theory of evolution. and Mount Chimborazo is the highest mountain in all of Ecuador. It's the close. It's actually the point on the Earth closest to the sun, due to its position within the equator. So that's kind of some Ecuador fun facts. Now going back to Quito, there are some really important areas to visit. There are tons of points of interest. Obviously, most people wanted to go visit the historic center, of course. It is absolutely gorgeous, and if you want to visit Ecuador, definitely visit the historic center, Quito. Featuring its current center. There's about 130 monumental buildings, mostly pictorial art and sculpture, and 5,000 different properties, including the seat of the government, the Palacio de Cardenet Palace. There's also the Quito Metropolitan Cathedral, which is constructed in 1535. There's also the Church of La Compañía in 1605, which features in Baroque styles, and it's featured one of the fanciest arts in the Americas. There's also the Ciudad Unidad de Mundo, the Equator, with several statues, small village, and charming old school museum. And of course, one of the best preserved speed in the old town is La Ronda, which is feature cobble streets, along cafes, galleries, and traditional arts. Well, there's plenty of historical stuff. Yeah, we built this city on Rolling Rock. Yeah, they actually built this on the side of a mountain. Quito is. But it's an absolutely gorgeous city, and if you guys haven't got a chance, Quito is definitely a city worth on your trip. Yeah, there is the volcano Cotopaxi to our right. Huge volcano. And then to the left, here's another peak as well. Like 2 beautiful peaks go within our distance. Absolutely gorgeous area. Ecuador, real beauty. Big old city of Quito. It's one of the finest cities, historically speaking, in South America. And of course, whoosh. Oh, whoosh. Oh, Jefferson Airplane. Okay. Sorry about that. And our final airport stop is Mariscal Sucre International, Sierra Echo Quebec Mike. This is also one of our Firefly Airs South America hubs, one of our 2. We visited Rio de Janeiro Galileo, but now we're visiting the other one. This airport here is the busiest airport in Ecuador. It's about 11 miles east of Quito. It serves as the main hub for Avionica Ecuador, as well as LATAM Ecuador. It opened back in 2013 to replace the 53-year-old airport of the same name. It's named after independence leader Antonio Jose de Sucre, and it was the first 5-star airport in the Western Hemisphere rated by Skytrax. Ooh. It covers 1,500 acres of land. And the reason they wanted to build this airport was because, well, the old airport posed a lot of risk. And they also wanted to accommodate larger aircraft and air traffic. So, and combine the fact that it also had seen numerous incidents, it's why they built the newer airport. And it can take all sorts of planes, from 737s, of course, to the 787, and even the 777s can do it as well. And it can do transatlantic routes too. So there's a lot of really cool places this airport flies to. Mexico City, like South American destinations like Bogota, Buenos Aires, Cienega, Medellin, Lima. And then we have North American cities like Panama City, that's Mexico City, Miami, New York, um, in Houston, and then of course it can also apply to Europe now, with places such as um, Amsterdam, Madrid, and yes, Calum also flies to Amsterdam and all that. But it's a really cool airport, and I'm very glad it's one of our hubs. It's actually a really cool airport. I mean, in fact, if you guys want me to, maybe not after next week, but maybe the week after, we might do some air shuttle routes between Quito and Bogota, because it's one of my favorite shuttle routes, because you get some great South American scenery, and the lanes of Bogota and Quito are always very exciting, very interesting places to fly. I think that would be a good time to bring that 777 down there too. And speaking about Quito, its busiest destinations are Panama City and Bogota. So those are its two big destinations in 2020. But yeah, currently 2022, 4.3 million passengers flew out of Quito. So yeah, in terms of Firefly Air, Quito is one of our hubs, and honestly, I'm glad Quito's a hub. It's a great airport. I like flying out of it. I haven't flown out of it too much lately, but I'm gonna fly out of it more often nowadays. In terms of our route map for our virtual airline, we got a lot of routes in Quito. We currently have routes to a lot of places in South America. I may have to go over and trim some of these routes down. I think we got way too many. I want to trim down some of these Quito routes. Maybe give some of those routes over to our Brazil hub. Maybe. But we got routes all across South America and Latin America, as well as some U.S. destinations like Dallas. Like, for example, we got routes over to Tahoe, even though it's a bit small. L.A., Dallas, Houston, Pittsburgh, which is our hub. Quito's just a really versatile hub. Its position is actually pretty good. You get all sorts of different regions of the world to fly to. It's nice. Yeah, I do like the Quito hub. It's very versatile. It's a versatile hub. And yeah, it would be a great place once air economy starts. It would be a great airport. Can't wait. Oh, speaking of which, later today, Captain Ratch is going to be back. He's going to be doing another Cessna 172 tour. He hasn't done one of those in a long time. So yeah, definitely check out his channel. So now, yeah, we're about to approach Quito. Really cool stuff. Yeah, he's doing them on Sundays, even though he's still too. Yeah, exactly. He'll be doing on Sundays. So, yeah. Here's Quito, everyone. Big capital city. Here's Quito. Yeah, it's a great area. Like I said, it's nice for general aviation flying, though it's not easy due to the altitude. But man, this is a really nice airliner. Very, very nice. Oh yeah, speaking about the old airport, there's actually the old Mariscal Sucre built in 1960, closed in 2013. It used to handle 6.2 million passengers, and at the time, it was actually one of the highest airports of the world, 9,200 feet. However, the major issue with this airport is it's very difficult because it's located surrounded by mountains, so it poses a lot of risk due to some serious accidents, and there were plenty of accidents. And there were multiple accidents at this airport because obviously, I mean, it only had a 10,000-foot runway with that altitude, so not a lot of runways. So nowadays, it's actually open to become Quito's largest park. So that's where the airport's happening right now. Oh yeah, if you look to our side, if you look in front of us, you can actually see Pichincha. This is an active volcano, by the way, and that's where the city is surrounded by an actual, literal, active stratovolcano. A lot of people don't know about this. Here it is, City Center Quito. There's the old Mariscal Sucre Airport. What an amazing city. Yeah, we just flew over the city center a while ago. There's the old Mariscal Sucre Airport. Currently, this airport is now a park, by the way. Let's go ahead and head over to our landing spot for the day. Dear Echo Quebec Mike. And our airport is down over here. There's our hub. There's Firefly Air's Northern South America hub. Here in beautiful Quito. So guys, thank you all so much for coming along to our tour of Ecuador today. I hope you guys like it. Ecuador, really, really cool city. And Ecuador is a really cool country. Quito is such an awesome city. Yeah, we're about to land here in Quito. Beautiful airport. And one of the things I do like about it is a very high altitude airport, 7,800 feet above sea level. So this is the perfect place if you want to do high altitude takeoffs and lands in the bigger aircraft. This would be a perfect place to do it. Yeah, it is a nice airport. The one in Quito, very, very nice. I'm glad we picked it as one of our hubs. It's a fitting hub for Firefly Air. Hopefully, with FS24, South America gets more of an update, and I think we might do a lot more flying in this region. Like, I've already got some pretty good routes we want to plan with out of that Quito hub. At least the good news is by having that virtual airline stuff twice a week, we'll be flying more from our hubs, primarily. But I got plenty of routes down on. And we made it. Welcome to Quito, everyone. Didn't even put on flaps on this thing, and still, this thing still lands smooth even without flaps. This thing. Welcome to the beautiful Quito International Airport. Okay. Here we go. All right, guys, and we've made it to Quito, everyone. Welcome to Quito International Airport. Um, Beautiful facility. We will be flying back in this region pretty soon, so we will return back here next Sunday for our flight tour over beautiful, and I mean beautiful, Colombia. So, guys, thank you all so much for coming here today. We'll be back on Wednesday for our 777 debut for Berlin, from Zurich to Berlin shuttle. We'll be flying from Zurich to Berlin and back. So good to see you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and set up the raid. We're gonna raid Angry One Horn today. We're gonna go ahead and set up a raid. I haven't raided his channel in a bit. So guys, thank you all so much, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Take care, everyone, and have a great rest of your weekend. Goodbye, everyone.